All right, everyone. Welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 14 recap. I can hear the booing, the grumbling through the internet out there in Tonto land. Yes, I know. I'm just as surprised as you guys are, I'll admit. All right. Let's just get right to it. Week 14, last week of the regular season, and it was much ado about nothing because Detling had to go and screw it up by beating Disco and tossing all of those 6 and 8 team scenarios out the window, and meaning that as long as he won, he had a chance to be in. As long as Jim lost, which ended up happening. We needed Jim to lose. We'll get into those matchups. We needed Gags to win. He did it. We needed Brian to win. He could not do it, even though Possum Magic spotted him 20% of his roster. Let's see. Justin was able to do it by knocking off Biscuits, making them both 6 and 8. But yeah, Disco could not do it. The formerly of Disco, Charbonnet, went off this week with no Ken Walker. Could that be the key to Yinzer Jag playoff success? That trade, that boring trade that nobody seemed to care about, might come back to bite some people here in playoff time. But yeah, Gags did his job. Brian did not do his. Josh did not do his. Justin did his, and Disco did not. So all of those fun things, it could have been way more fun to watch than it was. But it was kind of fun because it did come down to late in the Monday night game, the Bengals and Cowboys, because Jim just had to win to get in. That's all he had to do. Detling, to get in, he needed to win and have Jim lose. And thanks to a couple field goals from Brandon Aubrey towards the second half of that Cowboys game, and CeeDee Lamb scored like 17 points in the first quarter and then ended up with only like 19 total. And those couple field goals from Aubrey again got Biscuits to within like half of a point till CeeDee Lamb had a catch on the last drive there. But as you probably know, the Cowboys blocked that Bengals punt. And if they had just recovered that punt, the blocked punt, the muffed punt, instead of the Cowboys guy touching it, which made it a live ball, and fumbling it away, and the Bengals guy picking it up, as long as they blocked that punt and the Cowboys got it, they were basically in field goal range for Aubrey to kick probably a 30, 40-yard field goal and give Biscuits a 4 or 5 point, possibly 4 or 5 point lead. Assuming that maybe they didn't do too much to CeeDee Lamb. Like again, that was like late in the fourth quarter, and pretty much all of Lamb's points came in the first quarter, so they shut him down after that. So Biscuits was this close to having it fall his way, and unfortunately, it just said that losing that fumble or fumbling away that punt block to Cincinnati cost them the game there. Burrow then threw a touchdown to Chase, and Cowboys got the ball back to try and go down for a touchdown, but they were not able to do it, and that was that. That was where Lamb got one more catch to make the cushion a little bit harder, easier to swallow for Biscuits there, the difference. But anyway, so yeah, the point is, Biscuits could not quite get there. Story of his season. A lot of people, several teams this year we had a whole bunch of people finish, said 6 and 8. 3 of you guys, Josh, if you would have adjusted your lineup when Pickens was out and put Addison in, like I'm 99% sure you would have won your matchup, and you would have also been one of these 6 and 8s. Brian, you failed us all by not taking down Treesize. Even though he had he had 1-0 and he had 1 negative score for you, and you still couldn't get past him. But anyway, all you guys could have been 6 and 8, meaning just like one matchup difference here somewhere during the season. And I know Biscuits has been suffering. He's suffered from several narrow defeats, high point scores, losing matchups this week or this year. Just any one or two little things during the course of the season that could have gone differently, and the playoffs would be much different than they are. Alas, as Gag Shirt would say, it is what it is, and here we are, going into the Week 15 first round of the playoffs. So yeah, the standings didn't change at all, except for swapping Biscuits for Yinzers in that 6th seed. Alright, so what happened? We had the defending champion, Wizard of Wimber, going up against Balls Deep, Boomers Deep, whatever you want to call them. Alright, Yahoo is not giving the correct score there. Why are you doing that? Okay. All right, what do we got? Okay. Okay, I think we got this straight now. Wizard of Wimber versus Balls Deep. Balls Deep was trying to snag the second bye week away from Possum Magic. Still getting back to that Possum Hillbillies matchup. Both Zach and Ed had an opportunity to steal that spot from Treesize, Possum Magic there, and I'm still shocked that neither one of you, not only that Treesize won his matchup, that neither one of you was able to win either. You both lost. You both lost. Everything that could have gone right for Possum Magic did. Both you guys had that opportunity, and you let it slip through your fingers. All right, so Wizard of Wimber going up against Boomers Deep, Balls Deep. Final score here ends up being, I'm sorry guys, it's just 265.05 to 158.8. I believe Josh would call this a wizard dicking, going balls deep into balls deep, perhaps you could say. All right. A more than 100-point victory over Ball, and it ended up only 10 points away from the single week record. I still can't believe that I'm ending up saying that. Pretty crazy. But Burrow and Chase went off. If T. Higgins had done anything, only 10 points away from the record. Couldn't quite do it. Judy or Shakir on my bench would have gotten it, but oh well. Right, Joe Burrow goes for 63.25. Jamar Chase 48. T. Higgins 4. JSN 19.5. Rashad White 25. Tyrone Tracy 19.5. Fryermuth goes for 14. Puka goes off for 45 points this week. Wasted transaction on Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker. Should have just went with nobody there. He got me 1 point. So yeah, really just a wasted transaction. Tampa Bay defense, Yahoo says 14. I believe it was a 12-point bump to 26. And yeah, more than enough to get past Balls Deep this week, who had Jordan Love. He's got lots of people here on the Packers, going heavily invested in their offense. This was a good matchup, though, but This is what I believe to be your Achilles heel. Zach here, Jordan Love. In this matchup, only 28.5 points. Mike Evans, 11. Drake London, 12. Jawan Jennings, 2 touchdowns. He goes for 28. Montgomery goes for 19.5. Jacobs, not much less than your quarterback. He got all the touchdowns, but he didn't get a whole lot of yards there. He got 24.5. McBride goes for 14. Kamara, 13. And Boswell goes for about 12. And your Arizona Cardinals defense, we actually had to knock off 3 points because their actual score, Zach here, was -3. No sacks, no turnovers. They lost the game. Too many points, too many yards, too much everything. Fortunately, Boswell was able to take a little bit of that, get a little bit of that back for you. But yeah, you lost like 2.5 points, something like that, from the Cardinals defense. And as we march into the playoffs now, with the victory, Wizard of Wimber had already locked up the number 1 seed. He stays number 1. He moves to 11-3. Second year in a row that the Wizard of Wimber finishes 11-3. All right, you guys got one job. All 11 of you guys have one job, and you haven't been able to do it yet. Balls deep. He goes to 8. He falls to 8-6, although he remains in third place and will play Yinzer Jags, the 6th seed, in the first round of the playoffs. All right, we talked about this already a little bit. What do we got? Oh, we said Biscuits and Porn versus Darkwing Jet. Yahoo's being all goofy with me. They're already ahead to week 15 in the playoffs here, so I gotta bounce around. And like I said, Darkwing was able to just narrowly knock off Biscuits and Porn in with the score and knock him out of the playoffs completely. End his playoff hopes. Final score ended up being 170.8 to 167.9. So it's just about a 3-point victory there for Darkwing Jet. All right. Okay, Yahoo, why are you being stupid? You're showing... I'm clicking on Justin and Biscuit's matchup, but you're showing me my matchup. All right, why are you doing that? All right, here we go. All right. It is. I mean, everybody's talking about this wonderful performance, and it was indeed spectacular, but not a Tonto's Demise quarterback record. That is 95 points somewhere along the line by Drew Brees. I forget when. But Josh Allen carries Darkwing Jet pretty much on his back this week. Scores half of your points, almost half of your points just by himself. Josh Allen goes for 80.5 points this week. Said CD Lamb, he got 21.5. Said he had 17 something after the first quarter, so he was pretty quiet after that. Gave Biscuits and Porn some hope that they eventually ended up snuffing out. Jameson Williams goes for 13. Also, speaking of giving Biscuits some false hope, Jaden Reed goes for 0 on Thursday night. Bucky Irving tries to play through his injury, could not do it. They took him out pretty early in that game. He only got 3 points there. Kyron scores a couple touchdowns, gets you 23.5. Cotton goes for 10. Xavier Worthy, 9.5 points there on Sunday night. And McLaughlin, the Tampa Bay kicker, goes for about 5. And then Justin, your Jets D. Yahoo says another 0. But I believe, Miami had too much of everything else, but I believe I think Miami only had like 30 or 40 rushing yards. So you went from -3 to 6 thanks to that. You actually got 6 points from your Jets defense. And as we said, it was just enough to get past Biscuits and Porn and send him packing for the winter. Patrick Mahomes goes for 40.2. DJ Moore, 11. Mooney goes for 20. Devontae Smith, 13.5. Jamar Gibbs, 19.5. Najee goes for 11.3. Evan Engram, 7.3. Josh Palmer, plug and play, because another factor in this matchup, perhaps no McConkey, just under 14 points. Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker, again, he went for about 10.5, something like that. And the Chiefs defense, Yahoo says 9. You got a little bit of a bump there. I'm not sure exactly what it is, because again, my Yahoo, my browser is being funky here, so I'm not sure. I don't know exactly what it is. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, Darkwing Jut eliminates himself from the playoffs, and says, Biscuits, if I can't go, you can't go, and takes you down with him. Both of you end up 6-8 on the regular season, with Justin actually being right on the outside looking in 7th place, while Biscuits and Porn finishes just below him in 8th place. All right, what's next? We got... Yinzer Jags said, going up against Disco, we'll do this one. Yinzer Jags needed to win, as we said, and Jim to lose, Biscuits and Porn to lose. Ching Ching, those things happened. Both of them happened, and Yinzer Jags go into the playoffs, even though he doesn't want to. He thinks he's convinced he's an easy out. Self-fulfilling prophecy is the term I was trying to... I don't know why I couldn't think of that last week for Yinzer Jags here, and his playoff hopes, his playoff team here. But he pops off this week for 210.45 points, and it was enough to get past Disco's 167.7 and win his way into the playoffs at the number 6 seed. All right. I don't understand why you're still doing this. All right, we got to go through here. Disco. All right, Yinzer Jags. I think he had Stafford in until the podcast there. Then he switched up to Goff. Good move, because Goff goes off for 56 points this week. Kupp, Cooper, and Adunze. Kupp goes for 20. Cooper goes for 15. And Adunze actually goes for 20 points. 2 touchdown catches in garbage time there. James Cook only 5 points. But again, said Charbonnet with no Ken Walker there. You just flip-flopped those guys on your roster there. Plugged in Charbonnet. Very plus matchup against Cardinals defense there. And he goes off for 41.5 points. Laporta goes for 10.5. You plug and play Amir Abdullah from the Raiders there in your flex. Didn't really make a difference here. But he only scored 0.8. Fortunately, it didn't affect the matchup here. Everything else was pretty solid. Moody, your kicker, goes for about 8. And your San Francisco defense, Yahoo says 16. I think you must have gotten about a 15 or so point bump to about 30, 31. Over 200 points this week for Yinzer Jags, which I think as much as he's crying about his team's poor performance, I think he was over 200 points just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then he does it again. So you're dropping those 2 hondos on people with your quote-unquote shit team. But all right, what do we got for Disco? It'll be a little bit of more competitive matchup than we thought it was going to be. Jalen Hurts said the Eagles versus Carolina. Hurts goes for 39. A.J. Brown only 8.3. Jacoby Myers 13.5. Tyreek finally is a good game from him. He goes for 28. Ashan goes for 19. Bijan 20. Njoku 17. Kareem Hunt, since no Brees this week, I have to watch and see if he ends up playing this week, or if you're going to... I think you still have Disco has 1 or 2 moves still left. See what you end up deciding to do here. Kareem Hunt got you 4. Carlson gets you about 6, the Vegas kicker. And then your Dolphins defense, Yahoo says 6. I don't know what your actual score here was because my browser in Yahoo is being all goofy. So I don't feel like figuring that out. But yeah, Yinzer Jags pops off for over 200 points this week. After this matchup, both of you are end up 7-7. And that means... sorry, this is annoying. Disco stays put in the number 5 seed. He said both of you 7-7, while Yinzer Jags knocks out Biscuits and Porn and takes that number 6 seed at 7-7. All right, what's next? We've got we already briefly mentioned a lot of these matchups. Getting into this, we had Shawshank Athletics versus Dub C Hooligans. Dub C trying to go out strong. He does it basically thanks to Shawshank not paying attention on Sunday afternoon. Dub C 179.35 to Shawshank's 146.8. So you won by what? 33, almost 33 points there. And I believe Addison scored like 39. So yeah, Josh, all you had to do was put Jordan Addison into your lineup instead of Pickens, who was out. I don't know if you were just busy or what was going on there. But anyway, yeah. For Dub C Hooligans, the winner of this matchup, let's see, he has Cooper Rush go for 30.5. Waddle goes for 21. Too little, too late this year from Jalen Waddle. Very quiet till these past 2 or 3 weeks. Debo, only 5.5. Plug and play Ray McLeod goes for 16. Chase Brown, just an solid play, surprisingly all year long. Talked about it before that you would not want to have. I personally, at least, would try to avoid having a Bengal, or not just Bengal, but any stack of like a quarterback and a running back. But this season, the Bengals are all sorts of proving me wrong in that theory. I think it's an anomaly more than anything else, an outlier. But yeah, Chase Brown, undeniable, having a great season. A lot of it in the passing game. He had 6 catches and a receiving touchdown in this game. He goes for 25. Chuba Hubbard goes for 20.5. Unfortunately for Dub C, and nobody traded for Hubbard from you because Brooks re-tore the same ACL, and that opens up the floodgates there for Hubbard, who again, especially too because as you may recall, the Panthers signed Hubbard to like a big contract extension a few weeks ago. And now said Jonathan Brooks re-tore his ACL. So he's probably on the shelf at least all of next season. I'm going to guess. They're going to be very careful with him going forward. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Good news, bad news, but good news for Hubbard there. For his production, at least. Let's see then. Kittle goes for 24. Jonnu Smith, double tight end here. In the flex, 13.5. I believe everything Jonnu Smith did came in overtime in that game. I think he had 0 until overtime. Dicker, the kicker, goes for about 6. And then the Rams defense, they scored a touchdown. They blocked a kick. They won the game, but they gave up a ton of points, a ton of yards, so you didn't really gain too much else there, Dub C Hooligans. But it was enough to get past Shawshank Athletics this week, simply because he left Pickens in his lineup and did not put Jordan Addison in there. Caleb Williams goes for 32.5. Pickens, obviously, a 0. Garrett Wilson, 18.5. Marvin Harrison, 9. Aaron Jones, 16.5. Pollard, 17.5. Kelsey, 9.5. Justin Deere, 9.5. DeAndre Swift, 5 points. Bates, the Lions kicker, he goes for about 12. And then the Steelers defense, another solid year for them, putting up numbers every single week. Yahoo says 18. Josh, I don't know, again, what your actual score is here. What I do know is I said you lost by, 33 points. And Jordan, I'm almost certain you would have put Jordan Addison in over Wan'Dale Robinson. And Addison scored 39.3, which means if you had simply done that, you would have won this matchup, even though it didn't matter. Would have been a little bit of a point of pride here for you to go out on a victory. Instead, Josh, Shawshank Athletics, you end 2024 with a big L6 next to your name. Could have ended with a W1, but no, you're ending with a W or L7. Oh my God, L6. Now your favorite band might be L7, but you got here an L6. All right. Anyway, no, showing my age here with these references. Probably nobody even like, what the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, yeah. So Josh and Dub C with the victory and with the loss, both of you end up 5-9. So Josh, how does it feel to end up with the same record as the guy who gave up on his team and his season and the lineup in like week 3? Back in September, Dub C gave up. I was like, he gave it a try, couldn't quite get there, but yeah. Dub C finishes the regular season, we should mention, in the basement, so he will be sporting the Phillip Rivers jersey next year at the draft. Again, guys, I don't want to have to wear this the whole entire year next year for the reviews. But, again, it seems to be working because I wore this jersey all last year, won the championship. I've been wearing it all this year. Same results, an 11-3 regular season. Exact same thing, number 1 seed. Here we go, trying to get another Tonto Bowl. So, you guys, you need to get this away from me. Guys. So, Kevin, after you take it off, keep it. Do not give it back to me. I mean, I would like you to, but it's the rest of you guys. You have to step up and be like, no, don't give that back to Craig, because it must be his good luck jersey. Anyway. All right, what else do we got? Dub C finishes 12th place, and he will get the Rivers jersey at next year's draft. All right, then we had Gags trying to knock off Ed Lager. Ed Lager trying to get one of those bye weeks away from Possum Magic, and everything that he needed to happen did not happen. So, like I said, everything fell into place for Possum Magic actually this week. Gags knocks off Ed Lager 152.75 to only 133.3 for Ed Lager. This was a big, as we know, bye week problem for a lot of people. Let's see, Gags, what do we got? This one was mainly decided by Sam Darnold. Throwing for 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards. He gets you 63 points. D-Hop, Brian Thomas, and Elijah Moore, 13, 16.5, 6.5 respectively. Chubb and Connor, 5 and 22 for Connor. Kyle Pitts is the Pitts, 1 catch for 14 yards, 2.4. Pacheco, only 8 points. Picked up Group, the Saints kicker. He misses both of his field goals and makes both his PATs, giving him a big 0. Detroit defense, Yahoo says 4. I don't know what you got there, Gags, but it was enough. It must have been about another 12 points or so to 16. And you got past Ed Lager, whose team really just stayed in bed on Sunday. Russell Wilson goes for 32.5. Neighbors 15. Devontae Adams, though, He comes in, goes for 26, I should say. Westbrook Ikine, touchdown or bust, nothing this week, only 3 points. Saquon gets held in check, only 17.5 points this week. Gus Edwards falls into the end zone, gets you 9.5 points. Juwan Johnson, plug and play, he scores a touchdown, gets you 15. Keenan Allen's only 6. Ricard, the Vikings kicker, gets you about 5.5. And then the Bears defense gets shellacked by the San Francisco 49ers. Yahoo says 4. I'm pretty sure that was actually the correct score for your Bears defense. Ed, so you and Zach whimper your way into the playoffs with 2 embarrassing defeats. Gags goes out with victorious, something to hang his hat on as he goes into the offseason here. Ed, with the loss, he ends up at 8-6. He is the 4 seed. Basically everybody again stayed put in the standings there. Gags ends at 6-8 and in 9th place. All right, and finally, again, Possum Magic trying to hold on to that second bye week here for week 15, and somehow, some way, he is able to do it, getting the victory over Hillbillies on PCP, 151.6 to 148.15. I believe it was Rico Dowdle who came through on Monday night and squeaking out the victory for Possum Magic. I believe Possum was down by about 15 points, and he needed that from Dowdle. Dowdle gets him 18, and he squeaks out the victory. Possum Magic has Jameis Winston go for 39.5. Justin Jefferson pops off for 2 touchdowns, 32.2. Tillman, the Browns receiver, was ruled out a day or two before this game, but there was nothing that Possum Magic could do because he is out of transactions already, and I think everyone else on his bench was on a bye this week. There was literally nothing that he could do except take that 0. Amon-Ra goes for 10.3. Again, you were down by 15. Dowdle gets you 18, gets the victory. And we talked about this already. Jonathan Brooks carries once for -3, gets you -0.3, and again, retore his ACL, unfortunately for him. So yeah, Possum Magic spotted Hillbillies, 20% of his roster to get into negative points there, and Hillbillies still not able to do it. Noah Gray, 6.5, a double tight end package here. Noah Gray and Tucker Kraft, 6.5, and then 13. Gray, 6.5, Kraft, 13. Sanders, the Dolphins kicker, goes for about 15. And then your Vikings defense, Yahoo says 13. Not sure what it was. They gave up a lot of points and yards, but they did get some turnovers there and stuff. But again, just enough to get past Hillbillies on PCP this week. Baker Mayfield goes for 38. DK, only 9. Calvin Ridley, 13. Xavier Legette, only 6. Jalen Warren, 9.2. Your big fab pickup, Isaac Guerendo, actually performs. He goes for multiple touchdowns, gets you about 80 yards, gets you 27 points, but he sprains his foot in this game. San Francisco, I don't know if we talked about this, we mentioned this, I think I probably mentioned this before. Who are your trainers? You guys, what is going on with this team and the injury bug? Like, you guys need to find, with like your training staff, why is everybody getting hurt? Why you need to like start doing stretches and yoga and something like I don't know what is going on that no one on this team can stay healthy. So yeah, and now they play on Thursday night. So doesn't no longer matters because Brian's out of the playoffs with Garendo, but his not sure what the severity of his foot injury is. But again, they play Thursday night this week, so he's probably not going to be there. His backup, I think his name's Patrick Taylor. He came in and scored a touchdown. Somebody will probably pick him up and try and use him this week. Here in the first round of the playoffs, we'll see what happens. But anyway, everything worked out the way you could have hoped. 27 points from him, but it ended up not mattering at all. Bowers only 8.2. Christian Watson in the flex 13.5. Koo goes for about 6. And then the Eagles defense, Yahoo says 12. Actually, I think you got a decent bump. This is what actually made the matchup close, or gave you bumped you up to from this matchup being very close. Gave you that 15-point cushion from the Eagles defense, and said you just needed to avoid Dowdle getting 15 plus, but unfortunately he went out and did it last night, getting over 100 rushing yards. So there's a bonus there. Caught a couple passes. No, he got one pass for 10. So he got 130 yards. So that's 16 points right there. And then he added that catch there. But yeah, it was enough to get the victory for Possum Magic. He ends 10-4, gets that second spot bye week, and Hillbillies on PCP and ends the season 5-9, and actually all the way down in 11th place. So much for being such a high point scorer there, Brian. You ended up just outside the basement. I mean, you're pretty far ahead of Gags there, but actually pretty. You can feel free to use this to rub it in, I guess, or somebody can rub it in to you. You're actually pretty far ahead of points of Detling there. Not only a little bit behind Ed and a little bit behind Possum Magic there. But anyway, that's it. That is the end. Tonto's Demise, Season 22, regular season. Again, this season, roller coaster. Absolute roller coaster ride. We got just gutted with injuries the first half of the season. Fortunately, things kind of leveled out. Guys came back. Things got a little bit smoother down the line. Scoring was all over the place, up and down, week to week. Good matchups. People, a lot of the matchups that were close this year ended up being influential down the line in terms of who gets in and who misses out on the playoffs this year. So, like we said, the 2 bye weeks. Number 1, Wizard of Wimmer gets the 1 seed. Possum Magic gets the 2. First round of the playoffs, we are going to have Ed Lager versus Disco and Balls Deep versus Yinzer Jags. Should be 2 excellent matchups. Ed and Disco, projections fairly even on Yahoo here. Won't be decided until Monday night because both of you have investments in the Atlanta Falcons and the Las Vegas Raiders. So yeah, it is at Las Vegas. Ed's got Kirk Cousins in his lineup. We got anybody else for him? There's 2 Monday night games this week. Yeah. I just now realizing that there are 2 Monday night games this week because Ed has Keenan Allen and Ricard, the Vikings kicker. So we've got Falcons, Raiders, and we've got Bears, Vikings, both on Monday night here. So this matchup won't be decided until Monday night because, all right, so Ed has Cousins, Keenan, and Ricard going on then. And this Disco has Jacoby Myers, Bijan, and the Raiders kicker on Monday night. What do we got for Disco? Uh, his Eagles stack going up against the Steelers. That's even in Philadelphia. That's tough. It's going to be a tough one, I think, for you. Your Dolphins at Houston. Again, Houston's a tough defense. They definitely can be. Oh man, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Bijan should have a field day against Vegas there, but like he said, he's got Kirk Cousins. But he also has Saquon playing the Steelers defense. I don't know. Neighbors against Baltimore. Zay Flowers, two guys in the same game there. Your Jets, both of you have Jets going up against Jacksonville. That should be good, assuming Brees is healthy enough. Disco, he's got Cowboys defense at Carolina. Honestly, if I were you, I'd probably put in. I'd probably put in the Chargers defense at home against Tampa Bay. If we're gonna be honest, that's a tough one. It's tough when you've got several defenses and you're trying to pick one for them based on matchups, and a lot of times things just don't go quite the way you think they're going to. But Ed has Denver defense at home against the Colts coming off a bye week. That could be that could be what swings this matchup. The Denver defense at home against the Colts there. Also, Ed has Stevenson, the Patriots running back, at Arizona. He has multiple. Oh God, you got multiple Patriots in your starting lineup. But we just saw what Zach Charbonnet did to the Cardinals defense. Ed hoping that happens. There's a repeat this week. But yeah, this is going to be Bijan should do good. Disco, you got some tough matchups. Njoku at the versus the Chiefs. Their defense is good. This is going to be a good. Oh man, this is a hard one to pick. Definitely a hard one to pick, but man, I think I'm gonna go Ed. I think on this one. And again, mostly because of the Denver defense and Disco just having overall more difficult matchups than Ed. So yeah, that's my pick. Ed Lager to defeat Disco in the first round of the playoffs here. All right, other matchup, we've got Balls Deep number 3 versus Yinzer Jags number 6. Basically, half of Yinzer Jags' eggs are in the Buffalo Detroit basket here. He's got Goff, Amari Cooper, James Cook, Sam Laporta, and currently Dalton Kincaid. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys from the same game. If I don't really know that you have much else that you can put in. Detling there, I think you have a transaction, or maybe we have like one or no. I'm pretty sure you're out of transactions, right, Detling? I know there was somebody else. Tree Sice is out. I know that. I think is Detling you're out? Yeah. Yinzer Jags out of transactions. So you're kind of locked into what you've got. You've got Kincaid in the flex. He hasn't played in a couple weeks with an injury, so you're hoping that he comes back and gets in this week. You've got both Walker and Charbonnet. Do you end up playing both of those guys? And you really don't have any other options outside of Amir Abdullah and Ray Davis, the other. you just be putting in another Buffalo Bill. Ugh, man. Detling, you're in a tough spot here. You're praying for Kincaid to play. But yeah, you've got 5 of your guys. I mean, that could, man. Tough, man. Lions, Buffalo. It could be a defensive. It could just as easily be a defensive struggle as it could just be a offensive bonanza, like the Buffalo Rams game the other day. Um, but I think having watched a lot of the highlights of that game, um, and last week too, Detroit's defense is good, but they've just been slowly chipped away by injuries. They're not. They've just been week by week getting their defense chipped away at with injured players here. So they're not as good as they were a few weeks ago, probably. Buffalo's defense, they actually, watching the highlights of that game, they were actually playing pretty decent defense. It's just that Matthew Stafford was making ridiculous throws. Puka Nacua was playing out of his mind, making just sick catches. I mean, Buffalo was, for the most part, was playing pretty good defense. Just there wasn't much that they could do. I think we talked about this before too. The games where the Rams just looked awful. There's been a couple of those games where the Dolphins game, and there was another game. I forget who they played. The Rams there. Was Miami, Philadelphia. Yeah, they just got whipped by Miami and Philadelphia because they could not protect Stafford. But their offensive line seems to be coming together a little bit. So yeah, oh man. Basically, most of Detling's marbles are riding on this matchup. It's going to be tough because that could go. It could be another 42 to 44 score, or it could be like 23 to 20, something like that. Oh man, it'll be fun to watch. I'll be obviously be busy working. Unfortunately, won't be able to watch it. Then you've got Thursday night. You've got Cup. You got your Cup going against the San Francisco defense. Hate Thursday night games there. What else do you have? Sunday night, you've got Walker or Charbonnet, whoever's healthy. And then you've got Adunze on Monday night. Zach's got Jordan Love Sunday night. He's got Montgomery in that Buffalo Lions game. So obviously Love and Jacobs Sunday night at Seattle. Evans, Drake London there Monday night. So this matchup might not be decided till Monday night. Drake London versus Adunze. Sutton, Kamara, McBride. Washington defense at New Orleans. New Orleans, not sure who they just lost Carr again. So who knows who their quarterback's going to be. Man, this is another just testament to you guys, the league here. Just the level of competition week to week. Just solid teams, solid matchups, tough to pick. Oh man, because really, this matchup all comes down to the Buffalo Lions game. Is it feast or famine, fantasy-wise, in that matchup? Oh, man. I have a hard time seeing the Rams on a quick turnaround after such a big game against the Buffalo there. It's easy to see them crashing down this week at San Francisco. Maybe San Fran having a better time. God, this one it's tough. Again, So it all come feeding a fed horse here. It all comes down to that one game, really. Um, hmm. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Detling's gonna win this matchup. I'm going with Ed and Detling knocking off Zach out of the playoffs, which would mean round 2 of the playoffs would be you and me, Detling, 1 versus 6. Not the Tonto Bowl that we know everybody wants to see, but we've never given. We've never been able to give the people what they want. A Craig Detling Tonto Bowl. But we're going to have, I predict, a Craig Detling semifinal in week 16. Predicting Yinzer Jags to knock off Balls Deep this week and move to the semifinals, which means Tree would get Ed and I would get Detling. So those are my predictions for the first round of the playoffs. Again, I know it upsets everybody, makes you angry, makes you grit your teeth, makes you clench your fists. It's never happened in the 22-year history of Tonto's Demise, even though the knockout pool has not existed for all 22 years of Tonto's Demise. No one has ever won the Tonto's Demise Triple Crown, the knockout pool, the regular season first place, and the overall first place. I had to cut up my finger. Looks like I do. Yeah, this guy going for it. Not just the Triple Crown, the back-to-back pots. We're coming for it all, guys. We are the Wizard. There's the hat. You can see the hats down there. We're coming for it all. We're coming for it. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Hoping it does, but we'll see. Hey, I never get too far ahead of myself when it comes to this stuff because, again, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And it quite often does. So I will not be confident in anything until the match. I'm never confident in anything until the matchups are basically decided. You guys talk a lot of people like to talk smack beforehand, and I'm gonna kick your ass, and your team sucks and is trash, and I'm gonna do that. That is not how I roll. I am always nervous and never confident until the matchups are decided for sure. So anyway, all these teams. Said Detling, we were just talking about you. I mean, we were talking about your team there, and you're complaining about your team, but like 2 of the last 4 weeks, you've scored over 200 points. But I mean, then you dropped in week 11. Then you dropped off to 120 and 115. But yeah, you got your team can do it. We know that your team can do it. Every team in the playoffs this year is solid, pretty much up and down. It's going to be, said I'm hoping to get there, but it is certainly not going to be an easy ride for sure. Because again, credit to everybody who either you're in, even the guys who didn't make it. Most everybody just solid teams. Unpredictable matchups from week to week. That's another great year in Tonto's Demise, and looking forward to a solid, unpredictable playoff. No one gets hurt. Everybody's teams meet or exceed expectations. The guys with the bye weeks, just praying that their teams get through to next week. Nobody gets hurt when it doesn't matter. We will come back next week. It'll be a much shorter reviews here on out because we'll only have 2 matchups to talk about. And yeah, again, thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. Been another great season of Tonto's Demise. Unpredictable as always, all over the place. Injuries, things going on, points since like guys falling off, other guys coming out of nowhere. Really no huge free agents, undrafted players. Not much. There wasn't much this year of guys just coming out of nowhere. As some previous years, there wasn't a whole lot. But it was a great year. Again, guys, all of you, every single one of you, thank you for so much. This is the football season, the best 4 months of the year. Always a blast with everybody. Super competitive. Everybody brings it every single year, makes it tough. Great challenge. Appreciate that. Again, thank you to all you guys. A lot of you are probably going to start tuning out. So enjoy your holiday season, everything that it brings with that, with your families and everything. So yeah, thanks guys. Anything else? I think that's it. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. Kevin, your dogs they actually just pissed in that box that's right down there. I'm going to have to throw that away. Hopefully there's nothing very valuable in there. I'm going to have to go take a look. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for Tonto's Demise, Week 14, Season 22 in the books. Say it over and over again, but it's never loses its value there. Thank you guys. Thank you again and again. Another great year. Appreciate every single one of you and what you bring to the table. And again, happy holidays to everyone who's going to start tuning out. And best of luck to everyone who has made the Tonto's Demise playoffs. And should be a very exciting few weeks here leading up to Christmas and the end of the year. All right, guys. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.